Turns out that Sean Strickland has $4 million. That didn't totally surprise me, but it also turns out that he has a heart. That I did not know. So you guys following the story? Kyle Barajo offered to Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, who has never said no to any form of competition in his life. And I would know. I've put him in competitions before. Way over his head with grapplers. He gets on the plane. He comes and takes the match. I'm just saying. And nobody knew. Nobody knew that Kyle Barajo was offered to Sean behind the scenes. Sean offered this up. And he said, I know his wife. I know his kids. And I really like him. So when you get put in a spot like that, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the guy who said yes to everything and that's the way, or every now and then do you need to tell the matchmaker who doesn't know? Who doesn't know that I have a personal relationship with the wife and the child? And so that's the one Sean went with. And currently, Sean doesn't have another opponent. Now, the UFC, and for very good reason, and no other sport would work this way. Let me just use LeBron. It would not matter LeBron's relationship with the opponent. In fact, his son is in the league. In fact, LeBron could have to play against his son. It would not change that LeBron would show up and do the best that he could. And it would not change for his son. I don't think that he would try harder to be dad. I can just guarantee you he would not try less, and he damn sure wouldn't refuse the match. And it is important that you know, in MMA, it is standard. We call a guy and we ask him if he would like to fight. In no other sport does a guy under contract get asked if he would like to compete. He gets handed a schedule. And the guy never looks at the schedule and says, well, I got a wedding on this day, and I got something on this day, and I don't know if I'll be feeling good on this day, and that's my old college roommate. I'm not lining up against him. It just would never happen. It wouldn't even be a discussion. They would get the schedule. They would then know, I got to get on an airplane. I'm going to have to pack a bag. I'm going to make towns. I'm going to be staying in a hotel. They would just know. In our industry, you get called and you get asked very nicely. Now, when you get asked, and there's different times in your career. I mean, there's times where that is the most exciting call in the world. You can't believe it, right? The phone's going off. It's just some UFC's on your phone. You're showing people in the room. You're putting it on speaker. You're taking this call like it's the most exciting thing. There was nothing that could come out of their mouth that you wouldn't say yes to. But sometime you being that same guy, all of a sudden you gotta question it or even say no. Okay, but I want you to understand this from the UFC's perspective. So now the UFC that thought of you, that knew your contract was up, that had a big match and wanted to feature you, want to do the media and the press tours and the commercials and the countdown shows, and they want to do it with you. You tell them no. It is very reasonable that they then don't call you for a while. I mean, they're going to go back through the Rolodex and go through the other guys who have contracts, who are owed a fight, who they think of, who they have an opponent with, who they think they can do a big match, who they can put on billboards and countdown shows. Like, that's the way it's going to work. And just for that wheel to come around and it to come back to you, and the fighters can never understand that. Say, I told him no, why didn't he call me back? I talked to him 20 minutes ago. Why does he not call me back with another opponent or another opponent? Well, why? I mean, why would you think the UFC's mind works that way? If you said no to the idea that they already had, what would be different? I mean, you either are going to fight anybody and take big opportunities, or you're not. I'm sharing with you the UFC's mindset. I'm sharing with you how you could become cynical as a human being, or you could become annoyed. Or you can get a little system down that works the best for you so that you get to go home at some point in the night, get some sleep before you come back and do it all again the next day. And if that system involves offering a guy one fight, whoever that is, and then the whole wheel's got to go around of 776 people before it comes back to that, I don't think that Sean is in that position. I will just tell you, when he did this interview, it concerned me that he was in the position. In fact, I had this interview read to me by my producer. And I said, whoa, hold on. Who is he fighting? I was hoping that within the announcement of I was offered a fight and turned it down, and so now I'm doing this fight, I was hoping that would all be in one, because when it's not all in one, a lot of times you do have to wait for that wheel to go around. And it is a very consistent thing. There is not favoritism, and nobody gets singled out where the UFC gets mad. They get told yes and they get told no all day long. I'm just sharing with you. There sometimes is a process then of, hey, okay, I fulfilled my obligation to you, and I got piles and piles of other contracts. I've got to do my best to fulfill my obligations to them. I'm just sharing with you. It did concern me a little bit for Strickland, because I don't know how we got to Brawlhalla in the first place. I don't quite know how we got there. I thought we were pursuing Adesanya, and I thought that it was largely Izzy's idea. Nobody in the UFC calls their own shots more than Adesanya. Adesanya controlled his own schedule all the way down to dates for 4 years. Never fought anybody that wasn't his idea. Never fought anybody where he didn't go first and say, you. I'm just sharing with you that I thought Izzy and Strickland were going to do business. And I apologize, Sean and Izzy. And I have a little bit of a concern that the Brawlhalla fight was offered, but that another fight doesn't replace it. Sean said, I'm sitting on $4 million. I got $500,000 in real estate, and the rest is in cash. So before I leave this sport, I want to get to 8 to 10. And it was an interesting interview. But I am making this piece with my own agenda in mind. Which obviously, I don't want Sean punished. I don't want, as a fan of Sean, I want to have to wait for that whole wheel to go around. I think when you say yes enough times, and when you say yes to really hard fights on short notice, as Sean has done, I think you do build up, rightfully so. I think you have some goodwill. I'm as surprised as the matchmakers. I would never have thought he said no, but he did. The good news, there's plenty of other guys to fight. And by the way, what happened to the rematch with Izzy?